Why do millions of people choose to leave everything behind? Is migrating really worth it? Today, Paul is going to share his personal journey, the challenges, the rewards, and the life lessons that only migration can teach you. Let's get started. Welcome back, everyone. Today, we are with Paul.
Hello, Emma. Hi, everyone.
Paul, millions of people migrate every year, but everyone has a different story. In your opinion, why do so many people decide to leave their home countries?
That's a great question. I think one of the biggest reasons is opportunity. Many people migrate because they want a better future. Some are looking for higher salaries. Others want a better education. Many want to improve their English or gain international work experience. Some simply want to provide a better life for their families. So, migration isn't only about changing countries. For many people, it's about changing their future.
That's a really interesting point. So, what would you say is the biggest advantage of migrating?
For me, the biggest advantage is personal growth. When you move abroad, you have to solve problems on your own. You become more independent because your family isn't there to help you every time something goes wrong. For example, when I first arrived in Australia, I had to open a bank account, rent a room, learn how public transportation worked, and look for my first job, all in English. At first, I felt overwhelmed, but after a few weeks, I realized I was becoming much more confident. So, this is one of the greatest advantages of migration. It pushes you to grow.
That's true. Sometimes we grow the most when life forces us out of our comfort zone. Can you think of another advantage?
Definitely. Another advantage is meeting people from different cultures. Back home, most of my friends had similar backgrounds. But in Australia, I met people from India, Brazil, Colombia, China, Italy, Japan, and many other countries. You learn new traditions, different ways of thinking, and even new foods. It opens your mind. You realize there isn't only one way to live. That's something money can't buy.
I love that. Now let's be honest, migration isn't always easy. What would you say is the biggest disadvantage?
Without a doubt, loneliness. During the first few months, many migrants feel homesick. You miss your family, you miss birthdays, holidays, and special moments. Sometimes you just want someone to speak your native language with. I remember walking through the city surrounded by thousands of people, yet I still felt alone. That's one of the hardest parts of migration.
I think many people watching this episode can relate to that feeling. Besides loneliness, what other challenges do migrants usually face?
Finding your first job is another major challenge. Many employers ask for local experience, but it's difficult to get local experience if nobody gives you your first opportunity. I remember applying for dozens of jobs before someone finally called me for an interview. It taught me patience and resilience. Sometimes success comes after many rejections. You simply have to keep going.
That's a valuable lesson. So, would it be fair to say that every disadvantage also teaches you an important life skill?
Absolutely. Every challenge teaches you something. Loneliness teaches you to enjoy your own company. Looking for work teaches you perseverance. Living in another language improves your communication skills. And adapting to a new culture makes you more open-minded. Looking back, I realized that every obstacle helped me become a stronger person.
So, after arriving in Australia, what surprised you the most?
Honestly, everything. I felt like a child discovering the world for the first time. The buildings looked huge. The streets were different. People spoke so fast. Even using public transportation felt confusing. When you're new in a country, you don't know anything. Things that seem obvious to local people can be completely new to you. And sometimes, that can get you into trouble.
Oh, that sounds like there's a story behind it. What happened?
Ha ha ha. There definitely is. One day, I was taking the train to work. Normally, before you get on the train, you have to tap your Mikey card on the ticket machine. But that morning, I was completely distracted. I had lost the keys to my room the night before. The only thing I could think about was, where am I going to sleep tonight if I can't find them? My mind was somewhere else. So I got on the train and completely forgot to tap my Mikey card. A few minutes later, ticket inspectors came over. One of them smiled and said, "Sir, could you please tap your Mikey card?" That's when I realized I had forgotten.
Uh-oh, that doesn't sound good. What happened next?
I explained that I had just arrived in Australia. I told them, "I'm really sorry. I'm new here and I didn't know." They were polite, but they explained that I still had to pay a fine because those were the rules. At that moment, I felt terrible. Not because of the money, but because I felt so embarrassed.
Paul, you were trying to build a new life, and you almost became Australia's most wanted train passenger.
Exactly. For a second I thought, they're going to think I'm some kind of criminal.
Luckily, they didn't send you to prison over a train ride.
Thankfully, no. But that experience taught me something important. When you move abroad, making mistakes is completely normal. Sometimes you don't make mistakes because you're careless. You make them because you're learning.
Paul, you said, my mind was somewhere else. I love that expression because native speakers use it all the time. What does it mean?
It means you aren't paying attention to what's happening around you because you're thinking about something else. For example, I wasn't thinking about the train. I was thinking about my missing keys and where I was going to sleep that night. So, my mind was somewhere else.
So, if my boss is talking to me, but I'm thinking about pizza, I can say, sorry, my mind was somewhere else.
Exactly. Although, maybe don't tell your boss you were thinking about pizza.
Good point. That's probably not the best career advice. Paul, before we wrap up today's episode, I'm sure our audience would love to hear some advice. After 10 years of living as a migrant, you've experienced the highs and the lows. You've faced challenges, made mistakes, learned valuable lessons, and built a new life from scratch. So, if you could give one piece of advice to someone who is about to start their journey abroad, what would it be?
That's a great question, Emma. I would say this. Don't expect migration to be easy. There will be days when you feel lonely, days when you miss your family, days when you doubt yourself, and days when you wonder if you made the right decision. But don't let those moments define your entire journey. Migration is not just about moving to another country. It's about discovering a new version of yourself. Living abroad taught me to be independent. It taught me to solve problems. It taught me to communicate with people from different cultures. And most importantly, it taught me to know myself better. I learned what I can tolerate and what I can't. I learned to put limits. I learned to value my time, my energy, and my peace of mind. In many ways, migrating develops your character. It makes you stronger than you thought you could be. So my advice is, be patient with yourself. Your English doesn't have to be perfect on day one. Your life doesn't have to be perfect on day one. Take things one step at a time. Ask for help when you need it. And remember that every migrant starts as a beginner. One day, you'll look back and realize that the challenges that once scared you became the experiences that helped you grow.
That's a beautiful message, Paul. I think many people listening right now needed to hear that. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us today.
Thank you, Emma. And to everyone listening, wherever you are in your journey, keep going. You're stronger than you think.
And thank you to all our listeners for joining us today. If this conversation inspired you, share it with another migrant or someone who dreams of starting a new life abroad. Take care, keep learning, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.